what's not to love about a character that just makes you want to dress nice for the occasion? You know? So I figured with No Time to Die about to come out, in April, I figured, why the fuck not? Let's talk about some Bond movies that I love. So I figured I'd start with Casino Royale. So Casino Royale is the first Bond movie starring Daniel Craig, and a very different version of Bond that people were used to at the time. Because at the time, the only Bond that was really around was kind of, well, it was Pierce Brosnan, but it was a very comical kind of Bond movie. So every time somebody would watch a Bond movie, they would expect him to be skiing on a tidal wave that's about to crush him and kill him, and a big planetary object that's about to just blow up the planet. Actually, I think it was a satellite. I don't really know. I don't really remember that much about that Bond movie apart from Halle Berry. That's pretty much it. So this Bond movie is pretty much a return. Is pretty much like it's Batman Begins for Bond. It is really a great movie, and it shows Bond as I like him because because Bond. He's a fucking ruthless bastard. Like a lot of the time, he is ruthless. Most like in the novels of Bond, he isn't as, let's say, Roger Moore as Daniel Craig's Bond is, or at least in Casino Royale. Because in Casino Royale, he will sit there, he will make out with a chick, but the ultimate goal is the mission. The mission. He doesn't give a fuck about the girl. And then once the girl tells him what he needs to go, what he needs to do, he's off. Like seriously, it shows in the scene when he's making out with his chick and he's sort of interrogating her while trying to hit that, and then she tells him that he's about to get on a plane and get the fuck out of there. So he gets up and he's like, yeah, we're gonna need some more champagne. And he's just like, yeah, we need some more champagne. What? No, just for one. And then he leaves. He goes and gets his tucker. That is definitive Bond. That is awesome. I love that because the Bond that I personally love is a Bond that is somebody who doesn't give a fuck. He's kind of the anti-hero of the Secret Service. He doesn't give a fuck. He's just gonna do it. He does it for the mission. And I love this movie. This movie is Bond. However, it is not my favorite Bond. Like, I know there are some people out there that are like, it's either Casino Royale or Skyfall. For me personally, I prefer Skyfall, but that is just for some reasons that I'll get into later. But the characters in this movie, they're so great. I love Bond's character in this movie, as I've said. Not only do I like the fact that he's a ruthless killer, he's also a bit of a detective. Like, he's much better detective than has been shown in other Bond movies, even since Casino Royale. Because in this movie, he's sitting in M's office or in M's home, and he's already he's hacked into her computer and all that shit. And she's like, "How the hell did you know where I live?" And he's like, "Well, it was the same way I found out your name." I was like, "I thought M was really randomly assigned name, but I didn't know it stand for." Add another syllable to that name, and I will burn you alive, boy. M's another character that I fucking love. Like, they could have just had like in Doctor No where it's just a man. It's like, Bond, you need to go find Spectre, and you need to go and do it now. Do it now. And go find Q-Branch because you need some stuff. No, M in this movie, she's just as badass as Bond. Like, she just turns around and says, "You add another syllable to that name and I'll burn you alive. Like, I will have you killed right here, right now, in front of me, and I will throw you out that window just because I can." Good boy. I love M. But I also love the other characters in this movie, like Eva Green's character. Like, Eva Green, she's not my favorite. She probably is my favorite Bond girl, but there are parts about her character that I'll get into in a bit, where I just don't believe a lot. Just saying. But her character, her character has been different from most Bond girls that I remember. In fact, all Bond girls that I can think of right now who have actual personality, who have more personality than just chick who has tits and that Bond is gonna fuck. Because Bond, in this movie, there's a scene in the staircase where he kills a couple of guys, and he's sort of choke holding another guy, but he's trying to grab the gun, and then Eva Green comes up and just whacks the gun out of her hand. And that's like a moment that in other Bond movies would just be like, well, that was fun, let's move on. But in this movie, not only does it affect Bond's character because it shows him in a bathroom with a drink trying to clean it off, and he kind of looks like he regrets it almost, and that is brilliant. I fucking love that because that is like something that has really never been seen before in a Bond movie and hasn't been seen since. But it shows that this is the genesis of who we know, the Bond that we know. We fucking love Bond because he's just the guy who kills a guy and then he just sort of straightens his tie and then just keeps going. Love Pierce Brosnan, but it also shows Eva Green. She's like sitting in a shower and she's like it's like I've got blood on my hands and it won't come off. And it's that one scene where she's sitting in a shower and then Bond comes and joins her is probably my favorite scene in the entire movie. It adds so much character to her and to him. And it was brilliant. And another thing I love in this movie, the fucking casino. Holy shit. Like, if they had made this entire movie around that casino, just that poker set, I would have been fine. Like they could have sprinkled some things in, like poisoning Bond, which they did, and then they all add some other things in. But if they had made the entire movie around that moment, around that area, I would have been personally fine. Oh my god, they were so intense. There was a moment where Le Chiffre, who's the bad guy in this movie, I can't remember the actor's name, but he basically plays bad guys in bad guy roles, like he's just the bad guy. But in this, he's a good bad guy. But in my opinion, he's not as good as he could have been because he's more of a weak. I feel he's a weak antagonist because he's not really an antagonist. He's sort of a punk, and it shows in the staircase scene, like just before, the guys that he stole the money from, and he's trying to win the money back from the poker game, but he's there. They come to him and they sort of try and kill him, and it's like, you're obviously not the bad guy here. Like there are guys bigger than you, so why are we afraid of you personally? We should be going after your boss, which they do in Quantum of Solace and other movies like Quantum of Solace. Anyway, but I never felt that Le Chiffre's character was as as of a bigger presence as he should have been because there were people higher than him. I guess that does make him sort of an interesting Bond villain because he's not like, and now, Mr. Bond, I shall kill you where you sit. No, Mr. Bond, I want you to die. Okay, Goldfinger is a great Bond villain. I love Goldfinger, but still. You get what I'm saying, right? He's not the biggest bad guy there's ever been, and not only that, he gets killed before Bond even kills him, and it's like, and he gets killed 20 minutes before the end of the movie. So I'm sitting there when I watched this, I was sitting there kind of like, but because it was 20 minutes left, and you killed the villain. I get that there was another villain, but that guy was like the antagonist of the film. He was the face that we knew, and I was expecting him to get around and come and do shit, but he never actually did anything apart from crush. Oh. Okay, there's a scene in this movie that every guy in the entire world watching this movie. Oh. No. Le Chiffre kidnaps Bond, puts him on a chair with no bottom of the chair, and then grabs like a rope with a thing on the end, and sort of just crushes his balls with it. That was just yeah. But I wanted Bond and him to have like a moment where the two of them just throw down. I just wanted to see the two of them throw down. Like Le Chiffre's just pissed off that he's taken all of the money, that Bond has taken all of the money, and then Bond can just be like, well, I'm Bond, James Bond. But there's also another part of this movie that I didn't like. Like, I do like Le Chiffre, but I don't like him as much as I should have, and that's what that kind of lowers Casino Royale on my list of favorite Bond movies than it should. But there's also this part that lowers it just a little bit more, where the last 20 minutes is based on the love between Bond and Eva Green's character, one of which I never bought at all, ever, because she flipped the tables so quickly that I was like, no, no. And like, there is a story-based reason, but I never bought the fact that Bond bought it, because if Bond bought it, then it's like we're meant to buy it too. We're meant to buy the fact that Bond bought it, and I just never bought the fact that he bought it. It was just one of those moments where I was like, are you like Anakin and Padme? Right? Really? Okay. Yeah. I don't believe you. Because he's like lying on a beach and he's just like, well, that's probably one of the reasons why I love you. And I'm like, you just weren't there. Why'd you do that? Because like, I get that she's like, she has more character than other Bond girls, but she never really, like, I never bought the fact that Bond bought it, and I was just like, these last 20 minutes are just laughable. And that is just what brings the movie down for me, is like the villain and the Bond, like the last 20 minutes of the entire movie. It brings it down for me, because I'm just like, I like the villain, and I would have liked the villain to do more. Like, he's a great villain and he could have done more, but he didn't do more. And then this whole Eva Green thing it brought the movie down for me, and I was like I could do without this. This is just, it's not doing anything for me. So I never bought it. I never bought the Bond girl. I never bought I never liked how the sheep died before he actually really did anything outside of the casino, and he's not really around anywhere else in the movie. So basically, I love Bond character. I love M. I love the characters in this movie. I love the action sequences. I didn't even talk about the action sequence. Holy shit, they're great. Like, the staircase sequence alone is captivating as hell. Like, you just pulled into it. You feel every whack, every crack, every break that is in that scene, and that is just one of the scenes. There's another scene earlier in the movie where like in the opening sequence, the very opening sequence, where he's just throwing down with a guy in a bathroom, and then he just turns around and he's like, poof, and he does like the Bond opening thing, like I guess it was fun. It was like, okay, we're doing it differently. We're not doing as well. We're not doing what other movies has done, like opening up with the da 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 da. I just realized what that sounded like. That it wasn't what it meant to be. But anyway, this movie is a great movie. I never liked the villain I never liked the fact that the villain died, and I never liked the fact that Eva Green and Bond, like, they took up 20 minutes of the movie that could have been whittled down to about 10, and then they could have had the throw down. It took too much time. I didn't really like it, because it's just anyway. So Casino Royale, in my opinion, is absolutely worth even with the parts that I don't like, is absolutely worth watching with every ounce of your attention, and it is a great Bond movie. So let me ask you, what's your favorite Bond movie? Comment below, let me know. Do you prefer Casino Royale or Skyfall? Let me know, and I'll see you next time.